Hey, Reginald. Hey, Pamela. Welcome to the His and Her Money
Hey, you
Show.
guys.
Hey,
Hi.
thanks for having us.
We are glad to have you guys here. Actually, a follower of ours tagged us and said,
Yeah.
hey, y'all need to talk to them. They're doing some amazing things and everybody needs to know about it. So we said, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
And they are doing some amazing
And
things.
they are, in fact, doing some amazing
Mhm.
things. And so we're here with excitement and anticipation to hear about your story and your journey. But before we do that, can you just say hello to everyone that's tuned in and let them know what you're all about?
Hi. Well, I'm Pamela.
This is Reggie.
Hi, and we're the Smiths, and we live here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We have 4 kids. We're a homeschooling family. We are entrepreneurs, and we also live debt-free in business and in our personal life.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Love
I'm really
it. I love
excited to
it.
dig
Now
deep on
that's
this.
that's the now though. You know what I
Love it.
mean? They are now full-time entrepreneurs. They are now debt-free in personal life and in business life. But
There
if
was
we
a
were to
beginning.
turn back the hands of time, there
All
was
right.
a beginning to this story where we had an accountant and a nurse trying to figure some things out. Take us back to the beginning. How or what was going on that in your hearts and in your minds, you said, we want to do something different?
Yes, when we first started back in 2003, we first started making money. We didn't have the knowledge on what to do with the money. So we were making 6 figures, living paycheck to paycheck. We had 2 car payments. We had the big mortgage payment. We had the kids in private school. So we were up to debt in our eyeballs, and we had money fights, and it just got to the point where we was like, all right, we're making good money and we don't know what to do with this money. So that's when we started to read books, to get knowledge, and just, number one, just to start to pray as a couple, and ask God for guidance and wisdom on how to get our family out of this mess, because both of us come from dysfunction. We grew up, me and my wife, seeing stuff repossessed, seeing just lights being turned off. So we both came from that dysfunction. And so when we got married, she had dysfunction, I had dysfunction. So we had dysfunction in our marriage. And so it was just horrible. It was very horrible. And we just got sick and tired of being tired. And that's when we went on that journey to see how, what the Bible says about money, and just begin to study people with money. And so by doing those things, that allowed us to become entrepreneurs and to eradicate that debt.
Yeah, me as a nurse working, once I came out of nursing school, we both went to school and college in Tallahassee, and he got a job transfer here in South Florida. And I had just finished nursing school, and he was going to transfer down to Florida Atlantic University. I started working as a home health nurse, and I was going out, seeing clients, taking care of them in their homes. And one thing I saw about them was a lot of the residents here are snowbirds, and meaning they have a home up north and a home down south. And I wonder, coming from dysfunction, how was it possible for them to own 2 homes? And all of them had a common denominator. 98% of them were entrepreneurs. And so I began to learn from my clients who I was taking care of, and I began to study them. And I saw that entrepreneurship was key to financial freedom. So shortly after that, the Lord just impressed upon my heart to start a home healthcare business. And that was scary because no one in my family had ever, owned a business. So I know it had to be from God.
That's pretty interesting that you were able to take your clients and you were able to study them and watch them. And we teach a lot about that on the His or Her Money Show, just about studying someone else. If you want to be able to do what they're doing, have what they're having, watch what they do, and do it, right? Just apply it. So walk out the steps. Once you saw, okay, entrepreneurship was a big thing. I'm assuming that you came home, you spoke to your husband, Reggie. You're like, hey, I think we need to start some businesses here. So was the home health care, was that your first endeavor in entrepreneurship?
Yes, that was the first baby. And God spoke to me. First of all, it was the compassion I had for my clients, because I saw where the caregivers who were currently taking care of the clients were not professional and they were not loving. And me being a believer in Christ, I felt like here in South Florida, the majority of the clients here, elderly clients here, are Jewish. And so to me, it was a love for the Jewish people and showing them the love of God. And so God pressed upon my heart that not only are you going to start a business, but you're going to be able to provide my love to them. Because I truly believe whenever God gives you a business idea, it's for the kingdom, you know, and it's going to serve a purpose in his kingdom. And so I did come home and I told Reggie, and him being analytical, he's an accountant, he's the numbers guy. Mm-hmm. He just couldn't wrap his mind around it. Yeah. And so there was some conflict there because, and he can tell that part.
Yeah. What they said about analytical people, we don't take risks, we analyze. And so she came home with this business idea, and, you know, I shot it down. And, you know, so she just came back to me a second time, and I started to, you know, open my eyes and just look at the money part, and like, man, if we are able to do this, we're able to bring in this amount of money. And so it was I would say a push. She had to push me out there, and but once I got into it, you know, I was all in. And so, but it was a struggle in the beginning, just to kind of, you know, push me out of the boat.
Now I want to give context for the advice that you all are giving. So as of today, how many businesses are you all running?
2.
So we have 2 businesses being ran. You all have paid off all your debt. Mm-hmm. You all also recently purchased 41 acres of land.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of this, everything we just named.
Here's a picture.
They are debt free.
Amazing.
Okay. I just wanted to give that context. So obviously they know what they're talking about.
Let's watch them. Yeah. Okay? I love it.
So now, but I want to fill in the blanks here, because you, Reggie, said that you all were 6-figure earners, but up to your eyeballs in debt is the way you described it. And now that is not the case. Where did the debt-free journey collide with the entrepreneurial journey? Help us understand how you all began to get to the place that you're at now.
Okay. When we first started the business, we were in a lot of debt, and we both straddled on our jobs, and we straddled on our jobs for about a year before we jumped into, you know, at full time. And I left my job first. You know, we were praying and just saying, you know, who should leave their job first? And I was like, Pam, you know, you should leave your job. You're the nurse. And she was like, no, you should leave your job because I got the health insurance. And so I remember one night I had a dream, and my boss told me to get out the boat. And so that was our confirmation for me to leave my job first. And so once I put in my month resignation, because I was working in public accounting, I put in my month resignation. And 2 weeks later, that's when we found out my wife, she was pregnant with our 3rd child. And so that's when the fear started to kind of come back in, and like, all right, what are you doing? But I tell you, through that scary journey, you know, God, he kept us, and we paid all of our bills. And that just kind of built my faith, you know, even more, just being a person that's not a risk taker and a person that just analyzed. And so I was like, if God could do this, we can eradicate all of our debt. And we began to just to make money supernaturally, you know, business increase. We made some mistakes along the way because like my wife said, you know, we're the first entrepreneurs in our family. But during that time frame of just being in business, as of next month, September 7th, would be 13 years that we've been full-time entrepreneurs in business. But I just tell you, we've eradicated all of our debt, you know, as just bringing the money in, not going out and buying lavish things, you know, paying off our debt. And once we got our debt paid off, that's when we began to put our money in assets and just, you know, watch our money grow. And being able to give to our church, you know, our other charities. We sponsor kids in Africa. And so just being that entrepreneur, it allowed us to do those things. And also that entrepreneurship allowed us to eradicate that debt much faster than, it would have been if we was working on jobs.
Amen.
So talk about, okay, so God had you leave your job first, Reggie. Walk that out, okay? So you left your job, and then what? I take it that your wife, Pam, you were doing the home health care thing, right? I'm assuming. So walk that out. What was your next steps?
Once I left my job, we only had about 4 months of income in our savings. And I had to go out there and hit the pavement. I became a marketer. I didn't have time to be fearful. I had to go out there and drum up business because I had the mindset, all right, if we don't get business, hey, we ain't gonna eat. We're gonna lose our home. So I had to be a marketer. I had to.
Is it for the home healthcare business? So you both were doing it together, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we were doing it together. But I became just so engulfed in the home healthcare business where I kind of learned all the policies and procedures, administrating the business, running the business, just doing everything. And so by the time a year later, when she left her job, she was pretty much like just an overseer. And, I'm the type of person that was just doing the administrating. She's the visionary. She's a visionary. I'm the person that, make the details work.
Yeah, and it was, he had to learn marketing. He had to learn every aspect, everything that I knew how to do. He had to teach himself the healthcare side of it. And it's just been amazing just to see God do that. And within how many years we became a multi-million-dollar company?
Once we left our jobs, in 2 years, we became $1 million company.
The company became within a few years.
Yeah.
And so it's so important to obey God, even when you can't see. If he tells you to do it, do it. So
do it afraid.
Do it afraid.
That's right. Now you guys said that you all run 2 businesses. So I'm assuming the home healthcare is still intact, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the second one?
Our second one is a school. We have it's a private school for kids that are homeschooled. And so they come to our center twice a week. And I have professors who work for me. I have, you name it, drama teachers. I have all the teachers with all the skills to teach our homeschool kids. So when the homeschool kids, parents cannot teach algebra, when your kids get up into 9th grade, we have the teachers there that can teach these subjects. And so we have about 150 students, and I have about 15 teachers, professors, and instructors who work for me there. And I'm the president of that company. He's our CFO. And so we've been running that for 5 years.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like
big time.
What? Like, how do you do that? So I'm assuming that you guys, your journey of homeschooling your children came well before the school was established. Then I'm assuming that you guys saw that there was a void in an area. There was a need for something, right? And you all went ahead and carved out that space. Talk about that.
Yes, it was a need because right when we were becoming $1 million company, the Lord started speaking to me and he says, okay, I want you to pull your kids out of private school. But they were in a private Christian school. And he says, the best place for them is at home. And because at the particular Christian school we was at, God said to me one day, he said, do you see my name on side of the road? I said, yes. He said, it doesn't mean my spirit is there. And so that spoke volumes to me because I started to see that a lot of the lawyers and doctors who had their kids in these schools didn't necessarily hold the same value. They just didn't want their kids in public school. Mm-hmm. And so you would see in the private school a lot of the same stuff, bullying, drugs. Those kids can afford the drugs. And so it was a mandate that I be home with my kids, and how important it is for a mother to be home with her children. Because the Bible says, train them up in the way that they should go. And so seeing the way we both came from broken homes, and I knew it was important that not only that we become entrepreneurs, but that we have a strong family with strong values. And so I didn't know anything about homeschooling, just like I didn't know anything about business. And I said, okay, Lord, I'll do it, but you'll have to show me the way. And so I started homeschooling my kids, and I said, well, you know, it would be great. I had this vision of them being in a little, like a school together. They're not there every day, but they're able to get the social interaction, and they're able to get the specialized learning, like in algebra and chemistry. And so God gave me that vision, and so we just went for it, and we started it, and it's just been growing by leaps and bounds. We have kids that come from 3 counties.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also,
Now,
tell them about the online portion.
Yeah, and we also do online. We launched an online. We have online dual enrollment, so our kids can get dual enrollment credits. So even if the children are not in our area, they can do our online program. Our daughter, 17-year-old, right now she's been homeschooled since 3rd grade. She when she graduates high school this spring, she will have over 40 college credits.
wow.
And she qualified to be in the early college program. She passed all the exams at the college to be able to get in, and she's going to have over a year of college already done by the time she finishes high school. And it was all done debt-free, because all of the programs out there, the students don't have to pay tuition when they're in high school. So we took advantage of that, getting her these college credits, because that saves us money later when she goes to school. Yeah. So homeschooling really gives your kids a head start.
That's amazing.
Incredible. I have so many questions going on in my head right now, but I'll let you go ahead with the next one.
Okay, before you unleash on them, I want to rewind just a little bit, because the scenario was when you all were. I want to dig into strategy for a second, because you both heard from God about this business venture, but you still also had to implement a strategy, because the situation was you all had 2 kids and 1 on the way. You all had a bunch of debt, and you said we're living paycheck to paycheck somewhat. So now you're about to take an entire income away, right? Mm-hmm. What was the strategy? We heard you say that there were 4 months. You created a 4-month emergency fund. Yes. So because there's people listening like, I'm about to quit tomorrow. That's why we're gonna follow the Lord, right? So give us some of the strategy that you all put into place as you all were, going to make this transition in the infancy stages.
Yeah, when we had 4 months of emergency, for savings, and I just tell you how God worked it out. And so my strategy was, all right, we got 4 months of savings, kind of supplement my income. And also it was August. Actually, like I say, next week is our 13th year anniversary. So it was August. And I was like, all right, my wife, she'll have her income, and she's going to have the baby around, I think, the end of May. So another curveball came. She went into labor early. She went into labor in February. Our daughter was born premature, 2 pounds, 14 ounces. And that's when I also went into the panic mode again. I'm like, all right, she's not going to have, her salary for the next, 2.5, 3 months. Also at that time, she only had 2 weeks PTO. And I just tell you, God worked it out. I remember when we got down to our last dime, and I checked the bank account on the payday on a Friday, and her checks continue to come in each, biweekly payday while she was out on maternity leave. And I was like, man, and it just showed that God was with us. We had the plan to follow, God told me to leave our job. But just the strategy, even though when I had my black and white plan, a curveball came, but God worked it out even when those curveball came.
Like the children of Israel, he provided a cloud, right, during the day, and fire at night. He provided for them. So there's that element of faith that we all have to take, that sometimes we don't know where it's going to come from. We just know that God told us to go. Mm-hmm. Because if you have to have all the ducks in a row, sometimes we won't even move until we have all the ducks in a row. Yeah. And some things it's a faith walk. And for us, it has been a faith walk. Yeah. We knew that something radically needed to change. Working for someone just wasn't going to cut it for us to be able to leave a financial legacy to our kids. And so we had to make that radical, bold move of faith. Another thing that we did is we didn't inquire any new debts.
Yeah.
We live very frugally, and we still do. We didn't go out buying cars. Even today, we do not buy new cars. We save up cash and we go and buy used cars. And God supernaturally shows up there. Our car we drive now is a Chrysler minivan that we purchased cash. We got a tremendous deal on that because it had a dent on the back. I'm like, I'm not worried about that. But we didn't go out and acquire any new debts. We lived on a budget.
Yeah.
And we went without vacations. You know, we had to give up those types of things in order to believe in that vision that God had given us.
Powerful. So walk out the steps on, now you guys are completely debt free. So when you all left your jobs, you still had debt. So how did you build a companies and get out of debt? So how long did it take you guys to get out of debt? I'm assuming it was probably done before you did the school, or maybe not. I'm not sure. But talk about that whole process. How did you all make that happen?
It took, from the time we left our jobs, it took about 5 years to become completely debt free. And we just lived below our means. And as our income, began to build each year, we took that money and, used towards our debts, to eradicate the debts. And even with our company, we didn't accelerate and grow fast. I remember when we first was trying to get capital, all the banks turned us down. It was like, you got to have $250,000 in revenue. You got to have this, you got to have that. And so we was like, man, they wouldn't even give us a loan. And so we just, as our income began to grow, we began to, put money back, in our business. And also with our personal income, we still live below our means, and we just eradicated that debt. Everything went towards debt until we got it paid off.
Yeah, and both of our companies are debt free. And it's just been amazing. It's funny because we had an investor come in and try to purchase our company recently, and he offered us over $1 million for it. And he said he was just so impressed by our books that he said that he had been all over the country and he had never seen someone who knew numbers like him, but whose books and company was, you don't see companies that are debt free. And so it was just a testament. It was just such an amazing thing to hear him say that. And, and we live, even with our business, we do business by God's book, and so that's what we've applied. I don't have an MBA. He does have a degree in business and accounting, but, it was just really being obedient to God and what the Bible says about debt. In the Bible, as he talks a lot about whenever he teaches, is debt is considered a curse in the Bible, and so we just strive not to inquire debt, and we just trust God. An example is when we moved into a new location. Right now we have 3 locations for our healthcare company. Our corporate office, when we moved there, we didn't know how we were going to furnish it. Yeah. We're like, we don't have the money and we're not going to go borrow money to furnish it. And I tell you, God supernaturally, I was finding things at the time was Craigslist. I was the same reception desk that I wanted was $5,000. I got it for $150 used. Yeah. The guy who painted the whole office, I said, well, we didn't have all the money. Can we pay you in, over a couple months? He said, yeah. We found someone that could do the carpet really cost effective for us. And so those were the things that I think what we have to learn how to do is we have to learn how to trust God, and we have to be patient, and he will make a way for us. And so that's what we've learned a lot of, is being patient and not being anxious. And we've just always been able to do things and pay cash and not inquire any debts.
And also, when you make it up in your mind not to use debt, that's when you become creative and you start to look for deals. You start to, instead of going to a store and buying something new, You look on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
You know, you can find stuff at a steal.
Yeah.
Policy Genius guarantees the best life insurance price for you and those you love. It's so simple to protect your family today in 5 easy steps. 1. Calculate quotes. 2. Compare companies. 3. Apply online. 4. Receive expert advice. And 5. Rest easy. It really is that simple. Calculate, compare, apply with Policy Genius. For more info, head on over to hisandhermoney.com/Policy Genius.
You know, we have people listening to our show. They currently run a business, and there's been a mindset. I don't know who, society has probably told us this, right? That in order to grow your business and to scale your business, you probably need to go and get a loan. You need to go and ask the banks for money, or you need to get a credit card. And we too believe in running debt-free companies as well, and living a debt-free life. Reggie, what would you tell business owners that are listening now? Give them some practical steps. How can they really walk that out? Because some people are feeling like, no, that's impossible. It's impossible for me to do it debt-free.
Your books are impressive, so we need to know how you did it.
Your books are impressive. So give us your tips on how you can actually have a debt-free company.
Yeah, because to add on to your thought, we're not just talking about, I mean, they acquired facilities.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They had to buy buildings, and you're saying that, yeah, we did it with no loan. So for some people, that's like foreign. So break that down. How did you guys get to that point to where you have commercial property that you own that you pay cash for?
Mm-hmm. You just have to, when they say you have to crawl, you know, before you walk, and we just have to do it, you know, and all this stuff, like I said, we've been in business 13 years, and all of this stuff just didn't happen over time. You know, just being patient and crawling before you walk and saving as much, you know, cash as you can. You know, we invest in our business. We invest in advertising because, you know, that's the lifeline of our business, you know, and to grow it. But as you get that additional money coming in, you know, save it and begin to acquire stuff that you need, you know, as you go along that business journey. Sometimes, you know, like if we would have probably got a loan, we probably could have been, you know, a little ahead of the game, you know, probably 2-3 years earlier. But I just like having no debt. You're able to sleep at night. But you just got to crawl before you walk before you run. And it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and I think sometimes with business owners, you're so excited that you've made it and you get that extra money coming in. We invest a lot of it just saving it. Like our company has a surplus. I mean, we have money in reserves. Mm-hmm. And so people sometimes go out and buy Range Rovers. Yeah. You know, and they up their salary because they're making more money. We've just kind of just been, you know, conservative about it and frugal about it because we are thinking about, okay, what about that next location? You know, when we go into this next territory, we have money in reserves that we can do these things with. And so it's a great thing. And also being, we're job creators. That's the other thing that is so awesome about entrepreneurs because we employ hundreds of people. And so we're providing jobs for people and we're able to empower them and our office staff and empower them. And it's such an example to our office staff as well. And so, you know, that's just how we've done it, just being conservative about it.
And we've kept our salaries the same over all these years. Yeah. You know, when we first started, you know, business, you know, 13 years ago, we left our jobs. We was making over 150 a year. Actually, now we pay ourselves like 100 a year, and then all that extra surplus cash, we just put it in investments. And so when we need to buy something, we just would pull it from it. But you know, with our salaries, you know, I pay myself 50. She gets paid 50. But all that extra cash we have, we just invest it. And also with our employees, you know, we teach them to be entrepreneurial. All of our people that work for us are salespeople. They participate in profit sharing. Each quarter, we do our quarterly meetings, and they get a percentage of our profits. So that motivates them to sell, and that motivates them to see that they don't have a ceiling on their salary. And so they're all salespeople. And I just think with business owners, you know, as owners, it's kind of hard to find employees to have that owner mentality, but money speaks. If you put that incentive plan in place and you put reachable goals, and they see, all right, man, I'm gonna sell for this company. And so I think that's one of the things that also has helped us to grow our company, is by doing profit sharing and having our employees to have some skin in the game.
What are your ways of investing? I heard you guys say that you all put extra surplus in investments. That can mean various things for everybody, right? It can be real estate. It can be the stock market. How do you all choose to invest your money?
I like the mutual funds. I have a lot of money in S&P 500 index funds. We just started to invest in real estate. We brought this 41 acres in Montana. We're going to be going up there in a week or two. We just spoke with the landowner. He has about another 200 acres that's around our property, and we're going to talk to him about possibly buying that. And but I'm looking into the real estate. But as of right now, it's just all our money is in mutual funds.
So let's talk about the 41 acres.
We got to talk about the 41 acres.
For those that are watching this via video, right? So if you're listening to the show right now on iTunes and all of our other outlets, make sure that you click the show notes, and we'll make sure that we'll link it when the video comes out. But you all have to see the pictures of the acres. They have a picture of it, if you can show us.
Yeah, it's here. Yeah. Right there. I don't know if they can see.
Now let's give context, a little bit of context. Most good sized homes are on a quarter of an acre. A quarter of an acre. Reggie and Pamela bought 41 acres of land. Now, my first question is,
maybe buying more.
My first question, and more on the way, more acres on the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Now y'all are in Florida, and these 41 acres are in Montana. Yes. So tell us the backstory on why land, why Montana, and how you guys even
were able to acquire
moved in this direction.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been vacationing in Montana for about the last 4 years, and we just love it. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's absolutely beautiful. There's actually more people in Palm Beach County than the entire state of Montana. Yeah. And so it's peaceful. The mountains are amazing. And so we've just been going there on vacation each year. And the Lord started telling us that we were going to own land there. And so this last trip we took about a 30-day vacation over the summer. We hit all the national parks, and we ended our trip in Montana back in June. Yeah. And so as we're driving, I just kind of heard the Lord saying, you guys are gonna get some land on this trip. And so we started looking on Zillow, and we came to a 20-acre parcel, and the Lord was like, nope, that's not it. And he says, you need at least 40 acres. And for me, I'm a Black history buff, and
I wasn't going to go there, but go ahead.
The 40 acres were symbolic to me because of what our ancestors didn't get, what they were promised and didn't get. And so I knew it had to be at least 40. And so right after that, we saw the 20. I said, no, that's just too small. And right after that, another property popped up on Zillow, and it was around the corner. And we went out there with the rancher, and we walked out there, and we've always wanted to be able to have mountain view and water view. And this lot has a view of Horse Island, where all the wild horses live. And it's overlooking Flathead Lake, which is the largest lake west of the Mississippi. And what it is that all these years of giving up things, all these years of, that's what I want to tell somebody today, is that if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to sacrifice, the Lord is faithful. He will provide for you all of your heart's desire, but you have to go through those seasons of not having and not taking vacations. And so I just felt God's love so much. And when we saw the land, and on top of that, we got an amazing deal on the price of it. Yeah. And we just knew right then and there that this was our land. And so we purchased the land, and that it's ours, and we're going out in a couple weeks to get on some ATVs because I never knew how big 40 acres is. We needed binoculars just to see the property line.
Yeah.
And we still couldn't see it with the binoculars.
Yeah.
So we need ATVs just to ride over it.
Yeah. Because when we was out there, you know, it was cows out there grazing. And so we were having to, you know, kind of step over cow poop. But just, you know, seeing 40 acres and it's all clear, just rolling terrain. And we was like, man, this is just, you know, beautiful. And so we're going to go out there with some ATVs. And then in the wintertime, we're going to snowmobile. But the ultimate goal is to build, you know, a little mountain retreat, you know, debt free. That's the ultimate goal.
So do you guys own the land debt free?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can't leave that out because I'm sure people are like, oh yeah, did they buy 40 acres of land cash? Oh my gosh, incredible.
Yeah.
Hashtag life goals.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I'm like, man, I got so many questions now. Okay, so Montana, 40.
And they're going to build a retreat. That's your goal in the
acres.
future. Is it like a vacation type retreat for others to go? And what's that?
Just for our kids, you know, just to be able to, you know, have something for our kids and be able to, you know, for all of our kids to come and just to get away from the hustle and bustle and just a place to spend Christmas, Thanksgiving, get out there as much as we can, because I tell you, it's real nice out there, especially in the summertime. You know, it gets about 80 degrees. And then at nighttime, it gets down into the 50s and the 40s. So it's just amazing, you know, just to be out there and, you know, just see God's beauty. They call it God's country. And we was like, man, we see why they call it God's country out here.
Yeah, it's a retreat for us to be able to have a second home and spend our summers there because we work hard, you know, as entrepreneurs running multiple companies and homeschooling. That is, you know, like Jesus, he retreated, you know, and so that is our little retreat, you know, our summer home, our places we go for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so it'll be nice having a place to go and just be alone with God.
Yeah. So it's almost full circle because this whole entrepreneurial journey started for you talking to the people you were taking care of, and they had multiple residents. You were like, how do you get multiple residents? And now 13 years later, 41. No, we can't just call it 40. It ain't just 40, Ty. It's 41 acres.
Yeah.
Debt free that they own, which is simply amazing.
It is.
I mean, I think that's definitely a his and her money first. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. I definitely wouldn't have thought Montana, right? I think that's pretty cool. Now we got to go to Montana.
Yeah.
Do they got the internet out there?
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice, and especially, you know, the national parks, Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, which is on the Canadian border. It's real nice out there, and you see wildlife, moose, bears.
Yeah.
Hold up now. Hold on. You just got bears just chilling out there.
Yeah. Grizzly bears. You have to just keep your distance, and
you definitely need the ATV. Then the bears just out there. So I want to deal with the Debbie Downers that are listening, right? Because sometimes people hear what they want to hear inside of people's stories. Okay, so they heard you all once made $150,000 a year, and then they heard that even after you all started your business, you all were paying yourselves $100,000 a year.
Still do. Yep.
And still do. So they're like, man, I don't make $100,000. I can't do what they did. Talk to them, because you all talk to people. You all help people become debt free and understand money. You know, you all do that in addition to the businesses that you all run. How can someone who maybe isn't at that level financially see themselves inside of you all's story?
I think they just have to make it up in their minds that they want change and make the necessary steps. You know, a lot of self-development. One of the things Reggie said in the beginning is we read books. We're avid readers. Leaders are readers. And as you see behind us, this is our massive bookshelf. And we read all the time. And so we had to be built up. We had to develop the mindset. Before we could ever become millionaires, we had to have a millionaire mindset. And so we had to also make a change, and discipline is so important. A disciplined life is so important. And I don't care if you're making $20,000 a year, you can go beyond what we've done if you have the discipline, and it may mean downsizing. It may mean selling your home and downsizing in order to reach that goal. But being willing to do what you have to do temporarily to be able to get to those goals. I think that anyone could achieve can go beyond where we are if they have that discipline and they develop that mindset. And that's what we had to do. We had to cut out a lot of naysayers, because there were a lot of naysayers around us. We had to change our tribe. You cannot hang around the same people. You know what I'm saying? What's the saying? If you hang around 4 broke people, you're going to be the 5th broke person. So you have to change. Go to meetings. Go to business meetings in your community. Get Entrepreneurial Magazine, Money Magazine. Those are the things that we did. We watched Shark Tank. We educated ourselves. And so that would be my advice.
Yeah. And the discipline is the hard part, because you have to, when you want to see yourself at a certain level, you have to cut out some things. And we had to do that. We had to cut out some things, and it was hard for my wife, telling her no. Like, no, honey, we can't go on a vacation this year. No, honey, you can't buy a Range Rover. No, honey. And now she's used to no. And so she see the end result of just me saying no. And when we first, like I said, when we first got together, we didn't have the money knowledge. Her credit was worse than mine. But today, like I say, even though we haven't used credit in almost 10 years, but we checked our scores recently, and her credit is better than mine. I was like, what's going on? But but just being disciplined. It's like if you're trying to lose weight, you can't eat at McDonald's and expect to lose pounds. You got to do stuff different to see different results.
And I think discipline is huge in your story. I don't want that to be lost on everybody, because you were at 150 and you decided to subtract $50,000 and you maintain that. You maintain that. You didn't have to maintain that. You could have exceeded what you used to. You could have paid yourself a salary higher than what you used to make based on the success of you all's business endeavors. I also want to talk about discipline past. You guys got out of debt. You guys got your businesses off the ground. Both businesses are successful. Why and how hard has it been to say still no to yourself? Because you don't technically have to say no to yourself in certain areas right now. You could go get you a Range Rover. You got a $1 million company, right? But for you all, you all have other, goals and aspirations, but it has to be tough to be able to do those nice things and not do those nice things. How do you all navigate that?
That's why my wife, she calls me frugal. She's like, you're so frugal. And she'll tell you I'm a very frugal person. I won't even, sometimes I deprive myself. I won't even shop. She have to buy clothes for me and stuff. And I just look at, just putting my money in assets, making my money grow, being able to leave an inheritance to our children's children, because, we got 4 kids. And I was like, our 4 kids have 4 kids, 16 grandkids. We got to be able to pass that financial legacy down to our kids. But, and everything is in God's timing. Like, I remember years ago, my wife wanted a Mercedes. And I was like, no, honey, at the right time, we'll get it. And so, a few years later, we got that Mercedes and stuff.
Debt free.
Hey!
We went to the lot and paid cash.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's amazing when you go to these car dealerships and they come in there and it's just the mindset, like, what's your payment you want it to be? I'm like, we're not looking for payments. No. We're going to pay cash. And so it kind of shocks them. Like, they're not used to seeing people, coming in there buying cars cash. But it could be hard sometimes when you have the means to go and get stuff, but I don't want that stuff to control me. And once you get to a certain level, you'll start to see that all of this stuff that you wanted in your younger years, you don't even have the taste and desire for it anymore. So that's when we're looking at just putting our money in assets, land, mutual funds and stuff like that. and just building a financial legacy for our kids.
Your mindset changes. You know, you have to learn how to be weird, you know, and your mindset just shifts. You know, you're thinking about, as Reggie said, assets, things like land that will appreciate. You know, that same piece of land would be worth maybe 6-7 times as much, you know, when our children, you know, inherit it. So those types of things we look at. So when you can deprive yourself of a Range Rover, but you can go buy 41 acres of land, you know, you
Cash.
cash. You look Range Rover, it's gonna depreciate as you pull it off the lot versus land, you know. And so that's things that we just have a totally different mindset now.
And I love how you both rely on each other. So Reggie, you're the numbers guy. You do the accounting stuff. I too am the numbers person. I do the accounting things, and I too tend to neglect myself or put myself last in a sense, right? But if it wasn't for those number crunchers, right? I don't know if you'll be able to have 2 debt-free businesses, right? And even 41 acres of land. But I love how even your wife, Pam, you trust him. So you both kind of play your roles. And I think that's so important, vision as well as the reality, which is the numbers, right? So I love that about your story. I do have a question before we get off. Reggie, what would you tell someone that may be starting their business, right? So after hearing your story, they're really, really inspired. Okay, I didn't think that I could do this debt-free. Now I can. What are some best practices, accounting-wise, that they should put in place from the beginning?
I think if they're starting a business, if they want to go into business, make sure that they're managing their personal finances correctly, because that's your first business. If you're not able to manage your personal finances, your business finances are going to, they're not going to work. Your business is going to go under. Being able to manage cash flow, like right now in our business, our payroll, is running over 6 figures every 2 weeks. So it all started, back when we got the knowledge and concept of money, being faithful over the little things. And as you master those things, God will put more on you. So I would say just being faithful over the little things, learning accounting. Accounting is the language of business. I think everyone should have some understanding of how accounting works. Utilizing QuickBooks. We use QuickBooks. Knowing, what balance sheets are, income statements, cash flow statements, budgets. I think just engulfing yourself with as much, business books, reading, like Pam was saying, those entrepreneur magazines, and just, filling yourself up with that stuff. But I think that will kind of help someone that's, wanting to go out in business, but just making sure that you're managing your personal stuff, correctly, because that's going to help you when you go into your business. You're going to have much more, huge bills,
So you all do have a massive bookcase behind you. Do you have any recommendations for budding entrepreneurs to check out as they try to walk out what you all did? They done heard this show and they like, we about to get it together. We like Pam and Reggie. So what type of books would you recommend?
A lot of autobiographies, like Truett Cathy, the guy who started Chick-fil-A. Reggie really sucked all those books up like in a weekend. Yeah. Like he reads a lot faster than me, and he just went out and purchased all of the books. We really get those entrepreneurs that we see that love God and have successful businesses. As we know, like Chick-fil-A is one of the top grossing fast food chains. And so people like that, a lot of autobiographies of businessmen and women. We study people like that,
Also, Untrade Leadership. That was one book I read back in 2012. David Green's book, the guy that started Hobby Lobby. And one of the CDs that my wife got from the library years ago, this little CD was called The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yes, life-changing.
And we heard that audio CD, and it just helped us to expand our mind. Our mind. What other books we got? We got some Grant Cardone books back here. We got what else we got?
Everything. Madam C.J. Walker. Her. Her book on she's the first self-made millionaire woman in America. A lot of those books that have inspired me along my journey. But another thing I want to tell people is the library. The library is one of the richest places on the planet. Get you a library card. If you don't have money to purchase books on Amazon, go to the library. The library has most of these books.
Yeah.
Yes, I live at the library. That's
Same
my
here.
favorite
They know
place.
me when I walk
Yep.
in. They know me when I walk in there. So library is where it's at. That's how you get rich.
That's the
It's
truth.
Yes, in the library.
That's so true.
Yeah.
You guys have inspired us.
Incredible.
So I know that everybody that's listening right now is super inspired. So we want to salute both of you all for the work that you all have done, the discipline that you have shown. You guys are blazing an incredible trail, not just for your family, but for families that are watching your journey. Is truly inspirational. So if people want to keep up with you guys and, you know, continue to follow you as you all walk this out, how can they find you?
Well, they can find me on Instagram. I'm Black Mom CEO. I'm also at Black Home Educators. That's our homeschool page. Kingdomleaders.org is a website that we have. And
also at Frugal Beard Guy. My wife just pushed me on Instagram about 3 months ago because I'm more like an introvert, and she was like, "You got to get out there and, you know, we got to share our story. You know, we just can't keep this stuff bottled in. You know, sometimes, you know, just being busy in the hustle and bustle, but we got to get out there, share our story, and inspire others." And so that's what we're doing now. Our goal is to inspire and empower other people to step out in the things that God has called them to do.
Well, you guys are going to definitely do that after they listen to this episode. That's for sure.
So this has been amazing, guys. Thank you so much for taking time to share this with our audience today.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.